first, the ABC have announced they need diversity to be the #1 priority at the national broadcaster. Chief Diversity Officer Chris Oliver-Taylor told staff in an email, "It's an absolute priority for us to ensure that our workforce and content reflects Australia." He warned, "The reality is we don't have enough colleagues that come from a diverse background joining the ABC, and we need to deliberately make that happen." Well, the ABC is right to be concerned. There'll never be any diversity at the ABC until journalists of every ethnicity are all saying the same progressive left-wing narrative together. Caleb, don't you think this is just a case of they need diversity of faces to, disguise the uniformity of thought?
Well, exactly. They could go after diversity of thought, couldn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if it was more than just like one or two people on Radio National that I think 3 men and a dog listen to. They've got Amanda Vanstone over there on Radio National and a couple of other people that they just sort of shunt into the middle of the night so you never know they exist. But is it any surprise when the ABC is so caught up with this nonsense? And by the way, the ABC already has all these bases covered. If you go on TikTok or Instagram or whatever,
they constantly advertise
They've got a separate channel for gay stuff. They've got a separate channel for Indigenous stuff, and on and on.
Just to interrupt you while you're talking about that, we've got a clip from ABC Queer.
Show us.
Check this out.
How did you find dating in Sydney as a queer person?
I always felt safe.
I'll be real. I think as a trans or non-binary person, it can be a little bit difficult. Like, I didn't get many matches, and I think I'm a catch. But thankfully, I haven't had to do much dating. I've been pretty monogamous, to be honest. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Lucky you. I wish I could say the same.
I mean, is it any wonder the ABC's ratings are through the toilet? But they say, more diversity, that'll save the furniture. I reckon this is a good thing, and I'll tell you why. Because it will result in the ABC slipping even further in the ratings, becoming even more irrelevant, and it'll get to the point where we'll have to defund the whole bloody thing, except for Classic FM. They should keep Classic FM, but the rest of it, get rid of it.
Yes, keep Classic FM. Everything else can go, but we must keep that. But it just goes to show something all of us already know, which is there is no skills-based hiring at the ABC. Let's get those targets back up again. So they want 50% women. They also have a target staff with a disability, target content makers, CALD, culturally and linguistically diverse. I mean, so if you're a straight, white male, for instance, you've got Buckley's chance. You won't even make it into the pool of candidates that gets an interview for anything.
Can I tell you a story
at the
about
ABC?
that?
Because we've got targets to make.
I had a mate who was working at the ABC, a very accomplished reporter, and he was going for a higher role at the ABC, and he was sitting down and he was filling out all the paperwork and he was racking his brain trying to think, what's diverse about me? And he couldn't think of anything. And he was trying to think, is there anyone in my family tree who maybe spoke a different language, or that's a true story? He literally was sitting around for half an hour trying to think, what diversity box can I tick to try and make sure I get this promotion?
And there you have. You're looking into a crystal ball, seeing the future of our national broadcaster. Like, it's not bad enough already. But once you do away with merit-based hiring, once you do away with the hierarchy of competence on which our entire society relies in any sector, you have complete chaos. Everything will go to the dogs.
Let me show you a photograph of the ABC's Chief Content Officer, Chris Oliver-Taylor. I'm sure he's a nice guy, Caleb, but he doesn't look that diverse.
He's a sort of middle-aged...
Are you assuming his gender?
Balding white man.
I am.
This is the bloke that you want to lecture you about diversity, isn't it? But I notice in all of these, particular things, gender, race, whether you speak another language at home, there's no target in here for, say, the number of people from rural Australia who work at the ABC. Now, that is where the ABC can do some of its best work, out in rural Australia and in the regions where they don't necessarily get great commercial content. That is where the ABC has always excelled. But we know that they keep centralising everything to the ivory tower in Ultimo in Sydney. They're ripping all the resources out of the regions. No diversity of people for the regions. No. It's all inner city people who all think the same. They don't necessarily all look the same. But when it comes down to brass tacks, the diversity is only a veneer. What is underneath all of the people that they want to hire is exactly the same, the ideology.
And it doesn't work. Stan Grant left quite disgruntled at the way he'd been treated at the ABC.
True.
More recently, just earlier this year, Dan Borchio, is that how you say his name? He's a host on The Drum. He was saying about his regular appearances on The Insiders. He was like, I'm just tokenistic and I know her. I'm just a tick-the-box diversity pick on these panels.
Which is exactly what all these people will
and you're damned if you don't.
Correct.
And it also creates that culture in which, you know, say I was sexually diverse or whatever, I'd know full well I only got the job because, I tick this box or I have a disability or whatever the case may be. And it creates this unspoken resentment, like it has for years between men and women in the workplace. And I know plenty of male friends of mine who are top of their class when it comes to the sectors that they're working in, but they keep getting passed over for women because these targets are a very real thing and mean that, again, you may be the best for the job, doesn't mean you're going to get it.
This email that went out to ABC staff advising diversity is our top priority, it was included with an attachment, an employee diversity data collection form, which staff were encouraged to fill out. So, Liz, when you say tick a box, they were literally asked, can you please tick whatever boxes that you... But wouldn't you feel bad, Caleb, if you're like white, straight, male, you'd be like, I don't have a box to tick. Am I even valued at the ABC?
At least you can go and get a sex change now. Maybe if you want to get a job at the ABC, you've just got to commit full time to it. But